In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the AC condenser on this Ford E-350 van. Located right in front of your radiator under the hood, let's get started. It is important to note that before we start, you need the AC system drained completely of the refrigerant that's in it, so have it recovered by a professional with a machine that is able to do so, once again, before you open up any lines. We've already done this, so let's get into the job. Let's remove this plastic cover that goes along the top of the upper radiator support. To do this, we're going to remove the push clips that are here. I know this has a Phillips head cutout. Oftentimes these don't really work as intended anymore as they get older, and you might even have different push clips, but regardless, pop them out. There should be 4 in total on the top and 2 on the front. I actually only have 2 left on the top, and that's it. Some of mine are broken, some of mine are missing. With all of them removed, take the cover off. Next, we have to remove part of the air intake as well as the air filter housing. Starting with this piece, pull it straight up and out. Twist it. Now at the bottom, there's supposed to be 2 8mm headed bolts. I only have 1. Remove both if you have both. And at the top of this bracket, 2 more. Right where the air filter housing meets the rest of this intake snorkel, use an 8mm socket to loosen up this clamp. You don't need to remove it, just loosen it up a little and pop this off. Lift this whole intake piece up and move it out of the way. There is a mass airflow sensor connector attached to it, but I'm not disconnecting it, I'm just going to put it aside. This piece can now stay here. It does move out of the way if needed. We need to remove this plastic cover. 2 more push clips on this. Now remove this piece. On each side of the radiator on the top, we have the radiator support bracket with a 10mm bolt here, 1 over here, and this is just a rubber bushing. We have to remove both this left and the right side brackets. On the passenger side of the engine compartment, right next to where we removed that first radiator bracket, there are 2 13mm mounting nuts holding on the 2 lines. So let's remove both of these and therefore free up the lines. Now, just so you know, there might be a hissing noise coming from this area when you disconnect the line. That is not pressure, that is vacuum being pulled by the AC machine when it recovered all the refrigerant. If you're having trouble separating these, create a small gap and then just pry these out with a screwdriver or a little pry bar. Just leave them here. Use a 10mm socket to remove the bolt that holds on the bracket that clamps down the AC condenser. And there's another one on the other side. Now grab onto the AC condenser and lift it straight up. There it is. We have to transfer these plastic shields over. If you look on the back side, you'll see a little clip. Push this through. There's actually 3 of them. 1 at the top, 1 in the center, 1 on the bottom. And there's this side. Do the same to the other side. Now with the new condenser up here, let's reinstall this shield. Just try to center it up the best you can so that it's even top and bottom. Once you find the right slot for the push clips to line up with, press them through. Now take the 2 studs provided with the condenser and thread them into their corresponding threads on the condenser side. Make sure that the little cutout is at the top so that we can thread them in. Put a little bit of anti-seize on the threads that go in here. I like to do this so that they don't create a lot of corrosion in the future. Take a 5mm socket or wrench or some pliers if that's all you have. Just give them a quick snug. They don't need to be very tight. Basically what's going to happen is when we put the mounting nuts on with the lines, that's going to create pressure on both ends of the stud and therefore tighten it all up. Take the AC condenser, gently slide it in, pay attention to your fins on the radiator, on the AC condenser, and of course the two shields that are on each side. At the bottom of the condenser on each side, there should be a small round rubber bushing. The pins on the condenser should line up with that, and it should fall into place without moving around much. Let's reinstall the brackets that go on the condenser at the top. These had one bolt going in right here on the outer hole. Snug these up. The torque on these is 106 inch-pounds. Install the other side as well. Let's reinstall the lines. I recommend replacing the gaskets and the O-rings and lubricating them with PAG oil. Push them all the way in and thread on the mounting nuts. Snug these up. The torque on these is 133 inch-pounds. If you're unable to torque them, once they bottom out, give them about 1/8 of a turn at most. That's plenty tight for these lines. You don't want to strip out the threads. Let's do the same on the upper one. Let's reinstall the brackets that hold on the radiator. Put the two 10mm headed bolts in, one on the top and one on the front. Once you have them started, snug them up. These bolts get torqued to 15 foot-pounds. Reinstall this plastic piece that goes on top of the upper radiator support right in the center. It had two push clips. Push them both through. Bring the air filter housing back in. Line it up with the snorkel as well as the brackets top and bottom. Put this back in. Resecure this with the two bolts up top. You also should have two bolts on the bottom. Once again, I only had one. Keep this pressed tight up against the air filter housing and snug up the clamp. If you're doing this by hand, just tighten it up until it starts squishing down on the rubber. Now you don't want to go until this stops spinning because it actually won't. It'll just strip out and then you have to replace the clamp. But as long as you can't move this independently, it's plenty tight. Reinstall this cover and secure it with all the push clips that you removed that held it on. Now with the job finished, don't forget to recharge the AC system professionally with the right amount of refrigerant so that the system can work correctly. If it's too much or too little, it may not work at all or work improperly.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.